is TikTok here to stay? MLS's back tournament is heading into the semifinal round, and Europe's largest bank not looking too good. All that and more on this week's episode of Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Hello and welcome to Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Hey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you guys are staying up to date in everything that we're doing. The subscription means a lot, so go ahead and hit that subscription button. Also hit that like button if you like today's episode. We're talking about TikTok. We're talking about Microsoft. We're talking about MLS's back tournament. We got the biggest bank in Europe is looking not so good. Oh my goodness, so many different things to talk about. Kurt, how is it going over there?
It's going pretty good. And also something we got to talk about is hurricane/tropical storm Isaias, because we're actually kind of in one of the feeder bands right now.
Woo.
Not really, but
yeah. No, it's looking. I mean, we just went through that, so it'll be a good thing to talk about. Also, make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at podcast SEP at podcast SEP. Go ahead and follow us there. You can follow our picks.
Yep.
All the
make sure to
tips
follow
and all the tricks.
Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment.
Alrighty, how you doing, my man?
I'm pretty good.
You make it through that hurricane, okay?
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a scare, but not really even a scare. Like, worst case scenario, it was going to be like, it might be a little hairy, but
yeah, we didn't get too much.
Just like last year, yeah.
Rain. Yeah, it was soft on the rain, soft on the winds. Not too much to worry about.
I am looking forward to more dangerous things ahead, but this one was not that bad.
You got to really challenge that that survivor in you. That what are they? Gilligan? No, what's the guy that can put anything together from any different kind of thing he wants?
MacGyver?
MacGyver. You got to test that MacGyver. All right, good to hear that you were doing okay. I haven't seen you since then.
Yeah, it was
alrighty.
All right. Wasn't that bad. But let's talk about Microsoft and whatever is going on with this TikTok, because a few days ago I was hearing Donald Trump was going to shut down TikTok and stuff, and now all of a sudden Microsoft's trying to buy them out. What's going on?
Dude, so yeah, I guess they're associated with the age group in particular of the people that they were collecting data on, let alone just like the general intrusion on your everyday U.S. American rights or whatever. So
China has not been known to be the most respectful of privacy and data. So.
Yeah, you might say that. Anyway, it caught the attention of the U.S. government, the federal government, and it sounded like Trump didn't want any of that. And I don't necessarily blame him for that. I think that Americans generally don't like to be intruded on like that. So I can kind of see where the whole protectionist kind of deal comes into play here. Now the question is, does TikTok stick around? Because a lot of people really like TikTok. It's a really big platform for a lot of people.
Very trendy, especially with the younger folk.
Yeah, and so now they are in talks with Microsoft to get bought out so that they can remain in the U.S. And I heard that this was something that was a good that the federal government was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's see if Microsoft acquires you, then you guys can continue to operate here. Because they gotta adhere to those more strict guidelines.
But I just don't understand. Does this really fit into Microsoft's portfolio? I mean, is this something that Microsoft really thinks that is that profitable and can really benefit them? I mean, I don't understand. Or is there some sort of outside pressure, or is this just a rumor?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that for them, I mean, they do have share. They have LinkedIn. They bought LinkedIn, was their big one, I think. And that's like a social media platform as well. I guess it's a little more professional. That's something that might seem that a little more in tune with like what you said, Microsoft's portfolio. I don't think that they're like necessarily out of that sphere. I mean, they've really done a big investment into cloud sharing and then cloud storage, and then now moving into the Teams sphere. I don't know if you're familiar with Microsoft Teams. For anyone out there, it's that platform where you can video chat and just regular chat. I think that's them kind of trying to move into that sphere. They had Skype from before, but it's I think that this might might be trying to take advantage of a company that's probably willing to sell really low, considering the alternative is to just go out of business.
True.
You know.
And
so they could.
Yeah, I don't know, because always thought that TikTok was kind of like the rebirth of Vine, because Vine seemed to be so popular and then it just went out of business. And I thought, well, if Vine couldn't succeed, then TikTok has to share the same fate. Like, it's a fad here today, gone tomorrow. It's hard to monetize. Even Snapchat's not doing so well. I mean, I don't understand. There must be some sort of barrier for some of these like very casual social media companies to earn revenue. I mean, how do you earn revenue on an app where most of your users, or a big bulk of your users, are like 15 years old? They're not spending money, so you can't add revenue. You know, it's like, I don't know what the problem is, but I just feel like, I don't know, just from an intuition standpoint, I wouldn't want to own TikTok right now. But maybe they know the numbers.
I mean, Microsoft works in a big, variety of different tech type stuff. I mean, even Xbox, because they do all of Xbox, and that's gaming. But Xbox has a lot of just that like social aspect of streaming, I guess. Like, people do a lot of streaming and stuff, and people do a lot of gaming, and so Microsoft has like a really big platform in that sphere. And I think they do a really good job with that. Like, I think Minecraft is probably one of the biggest streamed games, on the internet. And so I think that their developers do Microsoft. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but they do. I mean, they're in all kinds of different spheres when it comes to the tech industry. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me. I think it's just them trying to get in on a low ball offer. You know what I mean? All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to watch. Yeah. Well, next on our list is Tropical Storm. I don't know if you'd say it. Everyone's been saying Isaias, but I just say Isaias.
Like how it's spelled.
It's
spelled Isaias.
But this storm came pretty close to you and me down here, and not too bad. But it's going to be causing a lot of rain, and it's the first really, well, not the first, because there was that hurricane tropical storm. It was a hurricane when it hit down way South Texas. But I think that it's gonna be pretty impactful for the whole eastern U.S. because it's gonna really carve out the Carolinas, and then it's gonna ride right up that eastern coast towards all those big cities and just dump a lot of rain, if nothing else, with a lot of waves and stuff coming off of that eastern.
I was looking at the track earlier,
wind.
and I don't know how much it's changed since I last looked at it, but it looked like it was kind of carving in a little bit inland, which I imagine is going to maybe help to weaken it a little bit.
Yeah.
But that said, the way that the rotation works on hurricanes is that it's pulling water in from its east side in towards the center a little bit stronger than it's pulling the water in from its west side. So if it's inland, that means that it's probably going to be a little bit more of a storm surge effect on the east coast, like what you were saying. But then does the mountains interact with, the Appalachians? Do they interact probably pretty negatively with it? So does it weaken a little bit faster than they were anticipating? I don't know. Is it a tropical storm right now, or is it currently a...
Yeah, it's a tropical storm, and it's supposed to become a depression once it moves quite a bit, like in the Washington, D.C. area. But I heard that there were tropical storm warnings.
Wow.
All the way up to the Philly region.
I'm looking at something already from the Portland Press Herald. The headline says, Tropical Storm Warning Issued for Maine. Which is wild. I can't imagine that's a very regular thing. I mean, granted, tropical storms aren't the worst thing that ever happened to anybody. A lot of what you have to worry about is the storm surge and the rainfall. But, that's still pretty intense. Like, it's not nothing.
Yeah, it's just going to impact a lot of people. And if it does make landfall at tropical storm strength over the Carolinas and then continues a little bit like that, you could have a lot of power outages and stuff like that. So it's just it's going to affect a lot of people, whether it's just rain. I'm glad that it didn't really impact Florida as much as I think some people may have feared it. It was always going to be on that lower end. It was never going to be like a major hurricane or anything like that. So everything's doing well, but hey, this is another one checked off the list. I heard that Puerto Rico, they have a lot of flooding worse than us because they got the mountains and stuff, but that's always happening down there. But another one off the list. We're through I, and we might have another one coming up the pike.
Yeah, I saw in the water. I didn't see that it was going to be particularly threatening to the southern U.S., and I don't know that it had.
No, but I just mean for the name count.
Yeah, definitely.
For our prediction.
Yeah.
And we just hit
I was
August.
just thinking about that. Like,
we're just getting
we
going.
were already in I. Do you remember? Does anyone remember Hurricane Irma? This was like, what, 2 years ago now? Hurricane Irma, when it was coming through and it kind of hit the west coast, the southwest coast of Florida, and then it came up and went in through the Tampa Bay area, and then brought like really heavy rain. It was Cat 5. I mean, who doesn't remember Hurricane Irma? I mean,
oh, I remember.
But that was
Irma.
They had a whole song about it and everything. I mean, that was It's the same letter, and that was like a mid-September hurricane, if I recall correctly. Like that. We're not even close to September, and we're already through the I's right now. So we have that rolling pick going right now, that running pick going, and you picked over, I think it was 16 named storms, which is looking really, really, really likely now, considering.
I think it was P or
considering
Q
we're only just in August,
like
beginning of August, and we have all of the end of August, all of September, which is the worst month for hurricanes, September, and then even into October. You can still get some pretty bad ones. So I think you're on the right track there, bud.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at some of these records. Like, what's the season with the most?
That's probably going to be back because of the La Nina.
But we'll have to post that on our
Twitter feed.
We'll have to post that on our Twitter. I'll find that out. Throw it at you. And then compare like where we are compared to where it was at this time. So,
yeah.
Yep. Keep an eye on that, and hopefully everything goes well for everyone up the Eastern Seaboard.
For all of our listeners up there that are watching from the Great White North to the Northeast. Actually, I guess the Great White North is Canada, huh? It's headed up there, though. Keep an eye out. Alrighty, let's move into sports. Yeah, Jinx,
all right, well,
Minnesota.
Moving into sports. Yeah.
This week we're going to keep it.
What do we have here? Just MLS?
Keep it pretty simple and pretty straightforward. I don't really know what's going on in the MLB. I'm gonna mention that every time we come in here. Maybe one of these weeks we'll start doing picks again. I just don't have the wherewithal to be looking at that right now. I don't know why. They just need to kind of get into the groove of things before I can actually give a determination as to what teams are going to be doing, what kind of how well they're going to be doing throughout the rest of the season. But there's still a lot of time for that. They have a 60-game season, so I mean they've got a couple of months.
And I heard that NHL is starting
really
either tonight or somewhere.
Is it like a start back up, or are they just like ending? Are they just doing the next season?
It's going to be like it's a big tournament. I don't know if they're including literally every single team and just starting from scratch. Like, I don't know if that means they're throwing away the season, or they used the season's results to formulate this bracket. Like they paired the stronger teams versus the weaker or something like that. I have no idea. Yeah, I'm just guessing.
Maybe next week we'll spend some time actually reviewing that, because I didn't even know that was happening. You're informing me.
Yep. So, but we have MLS, and they've been doing this tournament. We've talked about it. We went through the group stages, and now we're going through the knockouts, and we're down to the two semifinals left.
Yeah. So I guess our two semifinal matches are coming up August 5th and August 6th. The August 5th one is Philadelphia versus Portland, and then
that'd be what, tomorrow after this drops.
5th. This drops tomorrow is the 4th. So.
That'd be the next day.
Yeah, so that'll be the next day. Yep.
So tomorrow,
we are getting the
Philadelphia, Portland,
and then the Thursday we are getting the Orlando, Minnesota game. Any surprises there? I know my surprise.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, Portland should have never beat New York City FC.
I don't know how that happened, especially as bad as they did.
NYCFC. Yeah, 2 goals, and NYCFC was probably had like a 60% odds to win to 40. I mean, it was just a pretty big surprise, pretty big upset there. I'm not shocked by Philadelphia, but yeah, Orlando beating LAFC, that's another doozy.
Yeah, that was pretty big for, I think, Orlando.
That's a huge upset.
I don't think anyone was expecting Orlando to win. And
that's true.
I watched that. That's like the only match I watched from the quarterfinals. And you could see the coach from LAFC was visibly upset. Like, they were really disappointed as a team. So that was a pretty big surprise.
Bob Bradley?
Yeah.
And then Minnesota has had a great tournament. I don't know exactly how well they did in the group stages, but beating Columbus. Columbus was my team to win. I mean, they were looking so good. Mm-hmm. And then Minnesota beat them in penalties, squeaked by. And now I'm not as surprised that they beat San Jose. If they were able to hold off Columbus, they're a strong team.
Yeah.
So
that side of the bracket
pretty crazy.
Is looking pretty wild, I guess, from your point of view. The other side may be a little more predictable, other than the New York City FC upset.
Yeah, but I mean, just one last look at Orlando. I mean, think about this: Seattle, the previous champions, and LAFC were in the first round of 16 game against each other.
Yeah,
and so the winner of that match, and LAFC is obviously one of the favorites to win everything. Yeah. So the winner of that match, I would have put money on them going on to win everything, right? I mean, you would never expect the winner of Orlando Montreal to beat the winner of Seattle LAFC.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, when I was looking at that bracket, I was like, oh, that's because I'm an Orlando fan, so just the heads up there. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, dude, what? That's such a BS bracket. How are they going to put us up against either or LAFC or Seattle as the two alternatives? That's such BS. Like, no matter what, we're getting the short end of the stick. And then we ended up beating LAFC. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
It's all, I don't know. Yeah, it's all based on how they set up.
I will say this.
But,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Orlando City actually did look pretty good. I watched a lot of the games because obviously they're my favorite. They did look pretty good in the group stage. They won their group stage. And they played in the same one as, I think, Philadelphia. So and New York
NYFC.
City FC. Yeah. So it was, if New York City had beaten
home
Portland,
field,
all of 3 of the 4 people in the quarterfinal or in the semifinal would have been from Group A. But now it's but I mean, still now half of the teams, I should say, are from Group A. That's pretty impressive. That must have been a strong group.
Well, we have to get to our pick.
Yes, we got to get into the
That's
pick.
going to be our 2 picks for today. I think we broke down here. We broke down the tournament so far.
Yes.
Oh man, I really want to predict who's going to win the whole thing. But we're just going to do our picks.
When the final match is the 11th. What day is that? Is that going to give us enough time to give another pick?
That's a week. That's a week from when this podcast drops. So
we'll be able to give a pick.
We will.
At least a post pick.
Let's do that next week.
Sounds good. That'll be a good pick then next
week. So Captain's Log and Dick's picks and Captain's Log we've got Philadephia, Union, Portland, and Orlando, Minnesota. So how do you want to do this? You want to give?
I don't have mine written down, so let me do both of my picks first. And then I'll let you do both of yours.
I don't have them written down either, but I have mine written down right here.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, I don't even have mine written down anywhere. So this is coming.
Oh, okay.
This is so that
all right, straight from your brain here.
Yeah, straight from my brain.
Shotgun style.
Not that I haven't thought about it, but I don't want to seem like I'm cheating or anything. So
all right, go ahead.
I'm going with Philadelphia.
What are Dick's picks?
Plus Dick's picks. Philadelphia +1. They're going to win. I mean, they're going to win, in regular time, I think. And then I'm picking Minnesota +2. I think that Orlando has gone, they've done really well and they've looked really good. I just don't know that they have the stamina to keep it up. And I'd like to see it happen, but I just don't know. So I'm gonna say Minnesota +2 because Orlando's gonna trip right at the finish line here. And those are my picks. Dick's picks.
Well, one of your picks are identical to mine. That's the Philadelphia beating Portland by 1. I would have said more than that, but Portland is just they're looking like that team that's got grit, so they're not going to go down too easily. But Philadelphia will win; they're the better team.
Yeah.
And but I would not be shocked. Portland's already pulled an upset here. I'll go Philadelphia +1, just like you. For the Orlando Minnesota match, I'm going to pick Minnesota winning just like you did, but not by 2 goals, but in penalties. I think this one's going to penalties.
Oh,
yes.
I could totally see that. That's a pretty decent call. I mean,
both of these teams have gone to penalties so far in the knockout stages.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's a precedence.
And Orlando does have a lot of confidence right now, but so does Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota knows that they knocked off one of the great teams in Columbus. Orlando now knows that they've knocked out who were previously the favorites probably. So yeah, I'm seeing these two teams very closely matched, and this one's going to penalties. But Minnesota's got the quality, and I don't know. Orlando's luck is going to run out.
Yeah. So we at least have the same outcome, the same championship.
That's true.
The same
teams,
championship lineup. So that'll be interesting. Let's see. Let's see our you guys make your comments down below. See if you can outpick us. I mean, do you think that they're good picks? I mean, Philadelphia, Minnesota, is that really what the final's going to end up being? I don't think anyone would have picked that from the very beginning. Maybe Orlando, maybe Portland. We'll see. Go ahead and comment down below.
Drop your comment down below.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty.
And that brings us into stock talk for today.
Stock talk for today. So we are going to start off with, I headed it off.
Oh, this one's a doozy.
I headed off. Europe's biggest bank was not looking good. So the headline is HSBC. Is it? I just lost the headline here. Sorry. HSBC. Here it is. Europe's largest bank reported a 65% drop in pre-tax profits to 4.3 billion for the first half of the year. So they went from huge. I mean, they went from like really good profits. You know, this is a bank, so you think that they've got to be operating on those big margins because that's what banks do. They make big bets, and they're not like your everyday fast food company operating on super thin margins. And they had a 65% drop in profit. So,
yep.
I mean that's
they went from 3.2 billion in the first quarter of 2019 to 1.1 billion. So 3.2 to 1.1. That's the drop.
I mean, what does that say about the European economy and like I guess the global economy in
it's crazy. And this is a bank in England. This is a huge bank, HSBC, and they're saying that geopolitical tension between U.S. and China with their trade stuff going on in the last year has really impacted Europe and impacted the trade deals going on there because they really do live off. It's a global economy. When the two biggest countries, when they have struggles trade wise, it trickles down to Europe. Europe is living off of the crumbs, so to speak, in a way, in a lot of regards. But yeah, also COVID, obviously. Their government probably, I don't know, but I don't think their government has been able to take as strong action as the U.S. government and the U.S. Treasury has. I don't know if they have as much ammunition, Treasury-wise. And lastly, obviously because of that, interest rates falling. And when interest rates fall, then what does a bank have money to make? What does a bank have to make money on?
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's all excellent points they're saying here. The bank had previously, I'm reading off of BBC. Bank had previously said it would wind down or sell its U.S. retail banking operations, which would involve shrinking its 224 U.S. branch network by about 30%. So, I mean, they were already looking at cuts, At the top here, it says, in June, UK's largest bank said it would push ahead with its plan to cut 35,000 jobs from its global workforce of 235,000.
Wow.
So,
well, certainly, yeah, the U.S. is a problem right now, more than anywhere else. Yeah. But it's weird because it's not a U.S. company, so I'm sure that U.S. banks have access to a lot more cash flow right now than other global banks. It's a weird situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just I think that this is just speaking larger to volumes to that coronavirus. The issues with coronavirus that like. No matter what sector, and we talked about this before we even headed off the show here, it's just that, like, the markets aren't saying the same thing as the economy is actually saying. And this is just kind of like one of those underlying things that keep popping up, and the markets might be saying something differently, and things might not seem necessarily as bad as they are. I think a lot of people are probably doing okay because the government is probably doing a lot of putting itself in debt in order to keep everyone afloat right now. And it's not, no one can. You don't really notice it because it's not in your bank account. It's the government's bank account. But that's ultimately your bank account at the end of the day. So, it's easy to kind of get tricked by these misleading indicators that everything's going to be up and up, and maybe things aren't as good as they are. Things are on shakier ground.
And there is something to say about how much grizzle and fat there was going on before this happened. I mean, we were flying as high as you could ever fly, and a lot of that was on debt too. And when something like this happens, it really reveals that. It really sheds light on all the high that was going on beforehand. If things were steady beforehand and sensible beforehand, it wouldn't be as catastrophic monetarily. I mean, things are always going to be catastrophic, but I mean monetarily, things become more obvious when you're doing a little bit shady, like too much borrowing, too much lending before the crisis, and then the crisis hits. It kind of like sheds light on everything that was, this kind of like a bubble. Like everyone was a little bit too high. Everyone was trying to get out on the action, even when they probably shouldn't have. And so banks are right on the forefront of that because banks are always making these risky investments.
Exactly. They're making the big bets.
Yep.
So
we'll see. But
I mean, hopefully everything can
pull
back together. I mean, sooner rather than later, obviously. I'm sure that
at a certain point, you just gotta you gotta cut back on the stuff that doesn't matter as much, and you gotta hold on to like the core of your business and punch it through. So
alrighty, so I'm gonna go right in and do the indices, the key indices. Nasdaq.
Sure.
Nasdaq is up from last week, 4.18%. Nasdaq tech heavy, so obviously tech, singing the same song. We have S&P 500 up 2.5%, about 2.5%, 2.45.
Not bad at all.
And then Dow Industrials is up about 0.8%. So just under 1%. I mean, everyone looking pretty good right now. I mean, it's the same story that it's been. Things toppled off the edge of the cliff in the beginning of the year, and have since just been kind of figuring their way back out. And this is the stock market. I mean, this is kind of
but just what we were talking about earlier, though. Look at the price of gold too. I mean, gold is about to crack. It's over 1950 right now. I think it's about to crack 2000, which was, I thought I was kind of calling myself crazy when I made that prediction back in April or May. I said by the end of the calendar year, we're gonna have broken $2,000 an ounce.
That was when it's trading like $1,500 a pop at
it
best.
was like 1680, 1700. But that's a huge growth in less than a year. I mean, when gold usually doesn't grow that, but everyone knew it was kind of obvious, so it wasn't that crazy of a call. But it's flying high. So gold's high, but the stock market, like you said, it's built off of that government spending. But with that comes some of those monetary metals. It's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting time.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's a lot of opportunity here for people that maybe that are kind of risk takers, but there's also a lot of loss associated with it. There's not winners without losers at the end of the day.
Yep. When
it comes to certain aspects of the economy, I guess obviously there's something underlaying there that obviously if I pay you to go and hoe my field or something like that, I didn't have to hoe my field and you got money, so obviously there's both of us would be winners. But trading is risky. Alrighty, so let's roll.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Exactly, you never know. Let's roll right into Kurt's big pick and Richard's
hot take.
Why can I never remember that? You could not.
It's your hot take, man. Come on.
You could literally not pay me.
Everyone's waiting to hear what Richard's hot take is. No, you don't even remember what it's called.
You could never pay me to remember that it's called a hot take. So let's see what Richard's hot take is.
Hey, your takes have been pretty hot.
I've had a couple of good ones. I think not last week, but last episode, I think I picked. We can kind of review if you think you remember. No, please don't. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put me on the spot. I said
no. Mine did horrible.
I said BTG, which is
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gold,
B2G. Gold. Yeah. It's BTG is the stock symbol, and they were trading at like under $6 or something like that, or just around $6. They're about to cap. They're at $6.95 right now, so they're about to surpass $7. So that was a decent pick. I can't tell you the exact percentages, but that might have been worth it. But today we're gonna do. And do you want me to?
All right. What's your hot take?
Do you want me to give my hot take? Yeah, I am doing. I need to find it on my cellular device here. It's a stock called Fujitsu. Alrighty, and
sounds Japanese.
It is Japanese. You are very, very correct, sir. Its stock symbol is FJTSY. Okay. And they do information and communication technology, and they have had. I mean, they don't have a great PDE ratio. It's 18. It's not like amazing or anything like that, but they're just like their 5-year was like relatively good looking, and then in the last year they had really dropped off at the beginning of
18 is good.
Huh? Okay, well
18 is fine.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like incredible or anything like that. It's not like it's out of this world, but they were trading at like $15 a share at the worst, and I was looking at them at like $20 a share, and I wasn't quite sure, but that was in like April. And since then, they've like really taken off. They've really like ramped up a speed. And I don't know if that's sustainable. I don't know necessarily how long that's going to last for. But they're trading at $27.30 a share right now. So I'm just going to ride that guy just for a little longer, see what's what. And maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. We don't know. So that's my big Fujitsu, information technology.
All right. Which is definitely a type of industry that's in high demand right now and doing well. I'm going to go with something that is, for my big pick, I'm going to go for something that's a little bit more at its bottom, and hopefully it's seen the worst of its life. And you can buy it while it's really cheap, and then it will explode.
What is this secret stock you speak of, sir?
This stock is Talos Energy, TALO, and it's also pretty cheap. Well, oh no, you were talking about something else that was cheap. It's
mine was
I'm trying to
27 a share.
I'm gonna pull it up because
mine was trading at
computer.
Yeah,
is not
Fujitsu is
out.
trading at 25 cents a share.
Oh wow. Oh, it is
I'm sorry, $27 a share. I don't know why I said 25 cents.
Oh, dollars. Okay, I thought you said cents.
I did say cents, but I meant to say dollars. Sorry, $27 a share.
Well, this one is $6.91. So, hey, if you don't have partial shares and you want to get something, then.
So you're looking at it and you're seeing low. It's low. It's undervalued. Energy company.
Well, if you look at it, it's down 63% in the last year. It's down 42% in the last 3 months. Obviously, it's an oil drilling company. But it's a 100% buy rating between 8 analysts. It's about as low as it can get, I think. And I think that whatever the analysts are seeing, they think they have enough money to to make it through this one. So yeah, they're out in Texas, and they're oil, and they've taken a big hit. And I think that they're around a bottom that you could buy, and might not be 1 week play, but definitely hold on to it for a while, and
yeah,
they'll resurrect from the dead, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, eventually people are gonna start using their cars again and stuff, right? I mean, like that's gonna happen at some point.
Gas has gone up a tiny bit, I think. I've been looking. I've been paying attention to the price. It was like hovering just below $2 a gallon around here. And I traveled a little bit to like Tampa Bay, just other places in Florida, and it was pretty similar.
Yeah.
And so, but it's creeping over $2. Like you say, like more people are starting to get out and about. There's a little bit that the summer has to do with it and stuff, but anyway, if gas prices go up, these people are way back in business. They start cranking stuff back out again, and the share price is gonna go whoop 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 whoop.
Yeah, hopefully people are actually taking those. They're talking about the road trip, going back to the road trip. You can keep your family all together and not have to worry about flying and stuff like that. So maybe this is the bottom. Maybe people are gonna start taking advantage of that. Maybe this is it.
Who knows?
Who knows? Alrighty, that is Dick's hot take and
Richard's hot take.
Richard's hot take because it's Dick's picks. Got it. Richard's hot take and Kurt's big pick. See, that's an easy one to remember. Big pick over hot take.
Hot take. It's like hot cake.
Oh, a hot cake.
But it's a hot take.
Well, we'll see.
That wraps up this episode, right?
Yeah, I think
so. So make sure you all hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to follow along with every week. We're going to make so many picks you won't even believe it. So make sure that you click the like button if you enjoyed this episode, and comment all of your picks down below. Who do you think is going to win the MLS, and what is your stock for the next week? With that, it's been another episode of Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. We'll catch you on the next week. Until then, peace.